floor.
Okay, we'll start with the mayor's report, then the reports of the committees. Under my report, just a couple of items. Last Wednesday, I attended the Chamber of Commerce's monthly meeting at the library. I spoke with them about what we accomplished in 2022 and what we're looking to do in 2023. They have already started the 5K run that they're going to be doing in May. They'll have their first meeting at the end of this month, and they elected the new officers at the meeting, and also they have about 2 or 3 new businesses that joined the chamber. So the chamber is very active, and they are looking for any residents who know people that own businesses in the town who want to join them. Just let them know. Also, on Friday with Councilwoman Sarah Kohler and Kelly, our clerk, we attended the ribbon cutting of the nail salon across the street. The woman who owns Red Bowl also now owns the nail salon, and she had a ribbon cutting ceremony for everyone to be at. That's all I have to report right now. Financial Administrative Committee, Mr. Shalero.
Thank you, Mayor. So we've been talking about scheduling our budget meetings for 2023, and we do have a couple of dates that we've confirmed. The budget meetings will take place on Saturday, February 4th, Tuesday, February 7th. The goal is to have the budget prepared for introduction on March 14th. So if additional meetings are needed after the 7th, we'll announce those. This past week, the Library Board of Trustees held its reorganization meeting as well. Appointments for 2023 included Heather Del Piano as the superintendent's representative and Don Shalaro as the mayor's representative. There were no other appointments. Election of officers for the board. For president for 2023, Dave Marino. Vice President Rick Vanderwen. Treasurer Billy Smithison. Corresponding Secretary Joanne Mitchell. And Recording Secretary Don Shalaro. I couldn't give that job away another year again. We also approved the library budget for 2023. And just like the borough, the library also has its reorganization in terms of consent resolution, setting up accounts and whatnot. And that is all I have, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Fire and Police Protection Committee, Councilwoman Sarah Kohler.
Thank you, Mayor. Starting with the police department, on 1/17 at approximately 10 p.m., Officer Laprinzi observed a 2018 Honda CR-V commit several motor vehicle violations on Wyckoff Ave. A Ramsey resident was stopped and placed under arrest for DWI. In addition to the DWI, the driver was issued summons for failure to maintain lane and open containers in a motor vehicle. Sergeant Sinclair and Officer Cheney also assisted. Only about 12 hours later, the Waldeck Police received a report of a motor vehicle that struck a pole on Harrison Ave and left the scene. Responding officers identified a witness to the crash and collected evidence left at the scene that allowed police officers Sanchez, Freeman, and Van Dyke to track the vehicle to the driveway of an Allendale residence. The woman was placed under arrest for DWI. Moving on the 21st at approximately 1:56 a.m., Officer Walsh made another motor vehicle stop after observing a vehicle failing to stop at a stop sign at the intersection of Hammond Place and Wyckoff Avenue. Following field sobriety tests, the driver, a Waldeck resident, was placed under arrest and transported to police headquarters. The driver subsequently submitted breath samples and was charged with disregard of a stop sign, DWI, and careless driving. Also on that same day, January 21st at 11:30 p.m., police officer Wanamaker stopped a motor vehicle for failing to come to a complete stop at the intersection of Harrison and Wyckoff Ave. The driver, a Fort Lee resident, was processed at police headquarters and issued summonses for DWI, open container of alcohol or unsealed cannabis in a motor vehicle, disregard of a stop sign, and reckless and careless driving. Moving on to the fire department. So far for January, the department has responded to 11 calls for service, 3 of them being mutual aid. They had 2 drills so far. One was the inventory and inspection of the entire department's rope and equipment. This inspection happens at a minimum once a year to ensure that all rope is safely in working order. Their second drill focused on the year FAST team refresher. The department responds as a FAST team to multiple agencies and our mutual aid as a FAST team, so this yearly refresher allows members to review the tools and equipment needed. Hands-on training also happens every year. While doing all of that, members are still performing their annual mask fit testing, which is a New Jersey state requirement that must be fulfilled by any member who responds to fire calls. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Councilwoman Sherman.
Thank you. On January 16th, I attended the Waldwick Volunteer Ambulance Corps General Meeting. I was introduced to more of the members, and pardon me, they took the time to explain details to me and welcome me as their liaison. President of the Ambulance Corps, Dave Barthold, announced his appointments for the year. They discussed training and recertification opportunities for the members, because members are required to take many classes and recerts per year. They have posted their scholarship opportunities for the high school students. They provide multiple scholarships up there for people interested in the medical field. Walvac has their ongoing fundraising campaign, and we want to remind residents that they are always available and could use some financial assistance for residents to purchase medical supplies, water, and training sessions. They need to replace several EpiPens, and they cost hundreds of dollars each. So they're looking for people to make their donations. Waldwick Ambulance Corps members are available for upcoming standby needs, and they always are scheduling their volunteers for these different functions. They have some events scheduled, and just want us to let them know if we have any more upcoming where their services will be needed. They have several problems with the building, which I mentioned to Patrick earlier. The push bar is not working on their door, and the light by the back door above the stairs is out, and the ladies' room door is cracked and broken. So those things need to be repaired. Let's see, Wednesday night crew chief Ben Heimson gave a report stating that they had a CPR save where they actually brought the gentleman back. And that same crew the next week helped deliver a baby en route to the hospital. So I was wondering if it would be possible to bring this four-person crew here to recognize them and honor them at a future council meeting. Perhaps we could present them with a certificate and just recognize them. I don't know how to go about arranging that, but I would love to see that happen, Mr. Mayor.
Not a problem.
Thank you. On February 23rd, members of the Ambulance Corps will be at a library presentation. They were asked to come and help along and discuss the Ambulance Corps with the children and give some tours of their new ambulance. The members were excited for this opportunity, and many were signing up for it. I again want to acknowledge how dedicated the members of Walvac are and applaud them for all their work they do for our residents. And I look forward to my next meeting, which is in the month of February. Thank you.
Thank you. Recreation and Health Committee, Councilwoman Weber.
Michelle?
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
It's a little tough to hear.
Okay.
Thank you, tonight. The Board of Health meeting was on Thursday, January 19th. But due to a medical procedure, I was unable to attend the meeting, but was provided a summary of the meeting. Kathy Hillenhouse was reappointed as president, and Donna Palladino as vice president. The board discussed various health education programs they would like to present to the community this year. Health officer Anissa Reedy and our new local health outreach coordinator Alexandra Fox, along with the board, will meet with the Golden Club to ask them what types of programs they would like to see this year. Other topics also included suicide prevention, anxiety, and depression. Their next meeting will be on March 16th, and that one I will be able to attend. Recreation report, the summer concert series is coming along nicely. Thank you to Kelly and Patrick. Happy to report only 122 days until the pool opens. I know I'm excited. The clerk's office will be working on setting up programs for the online registration soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public Works Committee, Councilman Ritchie.
Thank you, Mayor. Catch my breath. So the quick update today, Mayor. So the first bulk pickup went through very well. People are calling. They are scheduling. So it's going well. And if you need to have your bulk trash picked up, just remember to call and schedule. It is snow season. So please remember when it snows to keep your car off the road. And if you have any questions on procedure, you can look on the back of your calendar. I also had a chance to attend the Board of Ed meeting last night. It was a nice meeting. They inducted a new member new trustee in, discussed the ongoing budget. They're moving to Phase 3 at the high school in February. And this was kind of cool. Hockey to Waldwick High School is new, and they brought the first puck that was ever scored in the history and kind of inducted that into the school. That'll now be on display forever. So it was kind of a nice event. That's my report for this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On the Building and Grounds Committee, Councilman Schatz is not here, but he gave me a report to read. First of all, the Borough Hall rehab contractor is making submittals to our architect. Work should begin in the next 30 days. Also, the parking lot expansion. The lighting upgrades were completed this week, well, last week, and we will wait until spring to redo the final paving and also do all the planting upgrades. 2023 budget, himself and our administrator have evaluated the borough buildings to determine the 2023 budget needs. They are working with the DPW to finalize everyone's request. Also, the PSE&G lighting upgrades in Borough Hall should begin late February. They're upgrading all the lighting so everything will be LED light fixtures. And that's all he has to report. Borough Administrator Patrick.
No report, thank you, Mayor.
Borough Clerk Kelly.
No report, thank you, Mayor.
Grant Administrator Matthew.
No report, thank you, Mayor.
All right, let's do a clean sweep. Borough Attorney Craig.
No, thank you, Mayor. No report.
Okay, are we going into close tonight?
Nothing for close.
Okay. Consent resolutions and resolutions of the governing body.
Be it resolved that the following resolutions herewith listed by consent, having been considered by the governing body of the Borough of Waldeck, are hereby passed and approved. 2023-76, approval of consent. Policy vote A, Kayla Gunderson requests to use Pavilion A on April 8th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. for a private event with alcoholic beverages being served. 2023-77, approval of minutes, recess December 13th, 2022, regular meeting held January 3rd, 2023. Reorganization meeting, January 3rd, 2023, and the regular meeting of January 10th, 2023. 2023-78, authorize acceptance of the 2022 Bergen County Open Space Trust Fund Municipal Program Grant for municipal park improvements, Brookview Park, pedestrian footbridge, and primitive walking trail. 2023-79, authorize increase of non-fair and open-ended contract with H2M and Associates, H2M Architects and Engineers in an amount not to exceed $27,681. 2023-80, award a fair and open contract with Bryan Electric for the DCFC charging station and installation in the amount of $254,113.94. 2023-81, amended non-fair and open contract to Boswell Engineering for design, construction, administration, and inspection services for water treatment at various wells in the amount of $220,000. 2023-82, authorize special budget meetings various. 2023-83, appointment of emergency temporary help for John Milano and Jim O'Connell. 2023-84, approval of appropriation transfers. And 2023-85, payment of vouchers.
Do we have a motion and a second? Motion by Councilman Shisleros, second by Councilman Ritchie. On the question. Sir.
Thank you, Mayor. So on the approval of the appropriation transfer, we've done these at previous meetings, but for those who may not be aware, this is for in our 2022 budget that we have certain line items that have insufficient funds, and we have other line items in our budget that have a surplus of funds. So this isn't new spending. We're not approving any new spending. This is just balancing our line items so that we don't have negative balances in any of them. So we're going to be transferring money from group insurance to borough clerk, tax collector, buildings and grounds, and fuel oil. That's all I have, Mayor.
Anyone else? Yes.
Yes, I just had a question on check number 18688. Sorry, 18687. Payment of $500 to Cantor Ellen Tillum for the menorah lighting. Did we know about this in advance? And does any other pastor that or religious figure that we invite to Waldwick events charge us? This is very unusual to me, and it really stuck out to me.
The Cantor told us about it ahead of time, and honestly, I'm not going to, in front of the public, talk about people's different religions and what they charge or not. If you want to know anything else, you can speak to Kelly or myself privately. But we did know about the $500. She didn't charge last year, but she charged, excuse me? I'm sorry? This is what they charged us. They charged us $500. This is what the Cantor charges. Every church, every religion charges a different price, and this is what she charged us. If you feel that's an issue, then we won't have a Cantor here next year. You made a comment. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
My question was,
I know it, and I just. I'm sorry?
It's not a back and forth.
Right. She told us ahead of time what she was charging, which was $500. She didn't charge last year because last year she did it for the first time. This year she had to bless the menorah, and then she had a ceremony with the children there and things of that nature.
It's not a back and forth.
It's not a, you could talk under new business.
my concern was not, it was paying of any money for a service by a clergy person, when I don't believe we've ever paid in the past.
Every religion charges a price. Some do, some don't.
Have we
if you-
ever paid in the past?
She didn't charge us last year. She's charging us this year. Or she charged us this year.
What about for any other?
We asked for some,
Ceremony.
we asked them what they want to charge, and some of them, well, most of them don't charge. But these are people that are living in our community. This woman was on the outside. She came from Teaneck. We could not get any other Cantor to come out because the day in which we did the ceremony was also the day that everyone else has their own ceremonies in their own community.
Thank you.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor, I have one item for resolutions, if you don't mind. I just want to highlight Resolution 2023-81. This is a contract amendment with Boswell for the administration and inspection of water treatment at various wells. The only highlight on this is that in the packet that you received last week, it was for a new contract in the same amount. The amount hasn't changed. Today, I requested that the clerk change this to a contract amendment with the original contract, again, for an increase in the same amount, but it keeps it cleaner on my end in terms of having the same PO and the same contract instead of duplicate of both. That's the only change, Mayor. Thank you.
Anyone else? Clerk, please take the roll.
Ms. Sericola?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mr. Shalero?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Mrs. Weber?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we have no public hearings. Introduction of ordinances. Will the clerk kindly read ordinance number 2023-01?
Ordinance number 2023-01, an ordinance to create Chapter 35 Business Insurance Registry and requiring liability insurance and annual registration requirements for businesses and owners of a rental unit or units in the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Waldwick.
A motion and a second is in order to pass this ordinance on first reading, and that it will be advertised in local legal newspapers required by law, setting a public hearing 2 weeks from tonight's meeting at 7:30 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter may be reached. Do I have a motion and a second? Motion by Mr. Ritchie, second by Mr. Shalero on the question. Yes.
Well, I'm happy to start, but the attorney clearly knows more about this than I. But essentially what we were told is that there's a new state law in effect, and it's requiring certain business owners and owners of multifamily rental units to, I guess, provide evidence of insurance to the borough, and we now have to keep those records in there. There are requirements about the certain levels of coverage that they need to have. Just reading between the lines, I'm guessing there have been incidents somewhere in the state where business owners have not provided insurance for their business or their tenants, so it's hard to really know what's driving this, but essentially this isn't something we're initiating, it's something that we're doing to comply with the new state requirement under what's said in our ordinance S 1368.
Would you like to continue? Okay. Anyone else? Clerk, please take the roll.
Ms. Sarcola?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mr. Shalero?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Mrs. Weber?
Yes.
Okay, would the clerk kindly read ordinance number 2023-02?
Ordinance number 2023-02, an ordinance amending Chapter 29 alcoholic beverages, Section 29-12, hours of operation restricted to clarify restricted hours 7 days a week.
A motion and a second is in order to pass this ordinance on first reading and that it be advertised in local legal newspapers, required by law, setting a public hearing 2 weeks from tonight's meeting at 7:30 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter may be reached. Do I have a motion and a second? Motion by Mrs. Saracola, second by Mr. Schlero. On the question.
Yeah, this was a change requested by the police department that the clerk and I reviewed, and it's really just to make it uniform, the hours that alcoholic beverages are able to be served in a licensed premises. So it'll be consistent 365 days a year as to they are not allowed to serve alcoholic beverages between the hours of 2 a.m. and 11 a.m. Previously, there had been exceptions for around New Year's Day, depending on whether it fell on a weekday or a weekend, and allowed them to stay open until 5 a.m. in the morning, which generally our establishments in town don't, and the police department viewed it as something that should not be allowed, and it's not going on right now. And for the ease of explaining these regulations to the establishments, they asked us to make this change.
Anyone else? If not, clerk, please take the roll.
Ms. Saracola?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mr. Shalero?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman?
Yes.
Mrs. Weber?
Yes.
Okay. Under unfinished business, just one item on the unfinished business. A couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I talked to you about an Eagle Scout that wanted to do an Eagle Scout project. He's the Eagle Scout whose sister did the path at the HCA Park. He was going to do do some work at Tamaron, doing all the new signage and the numbers on the doors, but unfortunately, he backed out of that for certain reasons. So what he met with me the other day, and what he's deciding to do is a continuation of his sister's project. So what he's going to do is, I told him to set up a plan. Matt was in the room with me. Matt and him talked. We all talked, and he's going to get back to us with a plan, with a path going into the other area. He wanted to know some questions. I think you already emailed him stuff. And Matt already emailed him everything he needed. Once he gives us all the reports back, then we'll have him come in and explain to us what he wants to do. That's the only thing I have for unfinished business. Anybody in the council, unfinished business? Nope. New business. Anybody in the council have new business? No new business. Okay. Public business comments. Anybody from the public would like to comment, please come up to the microphone. Please state your name and address for the record. I apologize, I didn't turn the thing around. Yes, thank you.
Hi, it's Mike McHugh, 79 Bergen Ave. I just have a question, and then I want to just share something with you also. Last week I saw there was, in my area of town, there were some of the strips in the streets. Is that part of the traffic study that we've been talking about?
It was, yes.
Okay, so I think I only saw them in the streets for a few days. Are they going to do it more, or are they just collecting enough data from that one sample?
Yeah, we collected data for one 24-hour period.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was hoping it would be more than that, because weekends are also different than weekdays and things like that. Okay. So if you remember, I requested the crash data from the Waldwick Police, and I got that back in September-ish. And sorry I'm a little late with this, but I got kind of busy in the fall. So I have a preliminary results I want to share with you. I have not reviewed these with Lieutenant Seifert yet, so I just want to just give you a little heads up, and then I'll talk to him, see if he has any comments, and I'll send it to you officially at some point. So Lieutenant Seifert gave me crash data for the entire town of Waldwick from 2018 through approximately mid-2022, so about a little 4.5-year period. And what I did was looked at the crash data between the grid from Route 17 south, north of East Prospect, and west of Franklin Turnpike, right? So that grid of where I live, in Bergen Ave. What I excluded from there was any cars that back out of driveways and hit cars, which is quite a bit of that. Some side swipes, overnight people getting their cars hit, and in the little industrial section of East Prospect, there's a lot of parking lot accidents, a lot of rear endings there, just in that little stretch. So for this purpose, my first pass, I excluded all of that, and I just concentrated on the grid, right? So accidents within the grid, and really it was interesting that it's really two main things, right? It's cars coming off of 17 onto these streets or going onto Route 17 is one group of accidents, and the other accidents are all the intersections. So say Bergen and Nordham, Ridge and Center Street, whatever it is. So over the 4.5-year period of these crashes, there was 55 accidents. 28 of them were in the intersections of the grid, and 27 of them were people coming on and off the Route 17. So it's almost a 50-50 split. Sadly, there was one fatal accident, so I've noted that in here. And what stands out to me, it's a couple of things that stand out to me, is the poor owner of 190 Summit Ave has had their house and property hit 8 times over the past 4.5 years. So more than once a year, they have end up with a car and a fatality. The fatality, that's where the fatality also happened, sadly. And then Bergen Avenue, there was 9 incidents, 5 cars coming off the highway that crashed into either 141 or 142 Bergen Ave, and 4 cars that were pulling onto the highway from Bergen crashed into somebody on Route 17 or caused some sort of accident. We had 22 accidents. Of these 22 in the whole grid resulted in residential property damage. So the car ended up in someone's lawn. Of these Route 17 intersection accidents, so people coming on and off the highway, or people coming off of Route 17 onto the grid, 91% of those people were out-of-towners. So, and then for the people going onto the highway, there was 2 that were unknown, but if we assume that they were out-of-towners, all of those. So probably about 95% of the accidents coming on and off Route 17 were at fault of the out-of-towner person. And then in the residential is about 50-50. So that kind of makes sense. What else do I want to say? That's about it. So just wanted to tell you that that's the number of accidents that's out there. This is my first pass. I'm going to review it with Lieutenant Seifert, see if he wants to include anything else. On the crash data reports, there's a whole bunch of numbers indicating if it's speed and factor, alcohol, things like this. I didn't put any of that in here, just pure numbers. So just want to share that with you, and we'll review with him, and then I'll get it to you guys to review, and either it's be part of that traffic survey maybe, and hopefully may at some point be submitted to the state to see if anything needs to be done or if they suggest something to be done.
When you speak to the Lieutenant Seifert and you arrange a meeting with him,
Yes.
just make sure our administrator Patrick's with you.
Okay.
He should be there to review everything too.
Okay. Yep.
Even though you said it to us now.
Oh, sure.
It'll be good to have the three of you there together.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is my first stab at it. So if
Yeah.
I forgot anything or
Yeah,
something
absolutely.
else you guys want to
Right.
include,
Right.
I'm all
But
for it.
Patrick's
So,
been behind all this too with you, so.
yes.
Best thing to do is both of you meet with the lieutenant, even if you have to come into our building or go into the police department.
I'm-
Set up a meeting and you.
I'm very flexible. So
I appreciate that.
whatever you need.
Good.
So thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much. Anyone else have anything? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilman Shalero, second by Councilman Ritchie. All those in favor?
Aye.